Hello and welcome to Business Today Television. Today at Tata Motors Pune plant, I have with me Mr. Shailesh Chandra, who's here to talk about the company's journey, 25 years journey of achieving 5 million production mark, the future strategy, product portfolio, and more. So, welcome.
Thank you and happy to be a part of your show.
First of all, congratulations, and it's a huge achievement that you've sort of surpassed. And the journey for next 5 million is going to be really exciting. Can you tell me a bit more about the product mix that we can expect from the company going forward?
I think the first I would like to speak about the first 5 million itself. I think this got achieved in 25 years and therefore it's a it's a journey where we have seen so many innovations that Tata Motors has brought in the passenger vehicle industry. It has created so many iconic brands starting from Safari to Indica, which was the first indigenous car that we brought. And there have been so many new segment creations, whether we talk about compact sedans, small car segment, and so many others, EV included. I think this has been a tremendous journey, and that is something which we want to take it forward in terms of the spirit of innovation. Next 5 years, of course, is going to be faster in terms of achievement of this milestone. We took 25 years to do the 5 million. Hopefully, we should take less than 8 years to do the next 1 million, next 5 million. This would be very different cars as compared to the cars that were in the previous 5 million, because these will be more electric cars, cars which will be powered by more emission friendly technologies. These will be bigger cars also, because the first 5 million cars were uh, aligned to the market, which were less than 4-meter cars, but now you're expanding into slightly bigger cars. And there will be different kind of powertrain mix, say CNG and more emission friendly vehicles. And therefore, broadly, we think that 20-25% of this next 5 million should be coming from electric vehicles also.
Wow. And the way I understand it, the last 1 million that you achieved was in the past 2.5 years. What, according to you, has led to such an immense growth? And in terms of the speed of growth has been really remarkable for the company. What are some of the factors, top key factors that you think have led to the kind of growth that you're seeing today?
See, if I compare the last million, which we did in 2.5 years, the earlier millions used to take us nearly 5 to 8 years. That is what timeline was. I think what has worked for us in the last 2.5 years is one that we came with a portfolio of products which were pretty much in the segments which was the sweet spot of the Indian growth, as far as passenger vehicle industry is concerned. We were in the sweet spot of SUVs. We came with cars which were more stylish, expressive. They were safe, best in class safety, and they were superior in performance, reliability, and drivability. I think all these factors have been acknowledged by the customers, and it has got very strong response. So I would say that is one. Second is definitely the role played by our channel partners. I think a lot of work we did together in terms of making them healthy, enabling them to help us grow. We expanded our network also from 700 uh, outlets to nearly 1,300 outlets, expanded our capacity, from producing 11,000 cars to 45,000 cars. So all these things have come together to do things much faster. 3 years back, we were selling like 1,35,000 vehicles in a year. Hopefully, this year we should be ending roughly 535,000.
Talking about the future, like you said, the future is going to see a mix of powertrains. I talk to some players, they say that it's not going to be only electric, it's going to be maybe a bit of hybrid, a bit of flex fuels, hydrogen. So, what is the technology of the future going to be? And today I see Tata Motors betting mostly on EVs when it comes to alternative fuels and a bit of CNG as well. But what is the product mix going to look like, say, 5 or 10 years from now?
Let's take a point of view of what will be at the end of this decade. It is true that it is not going to be full electric, right? 30% of this market is what the vision has been set by the government. of the sales would be EVs, is the vision which has been set. Tata Motors' endeavor would be that we bring it closer to 45-50%, at least in our portfolio, because we want to accelerate this journey of electrification. But at an industry level, I think the mix would be 30% electric, roughly 25% to 30% CNG, and a lot of flex fuel at that point in time would be uh, pretty much a common sight if it translate into a mandatory regulation going forward. And even the petrol cars, which are going to be there, are going to be more emission friendly with GDI technologies and so on. There will be certain segments where hybrids would also uh, be there, because there will be certain OEMs who would be offering those. But that's broadly the mix I see going forward. Tata Motors, of course, will try to aggressively accelerate the journey of electrification, and rest of the mix would be, CNG and more emission-friendly technologies. Diesel would definitely go down significantly.
But some would also say that this is like putting all your eggs in one basket, betting on just one technology, which again, India, we are not sure how fast we are going towards that. What do you have to say to that?
We are not betting only on one technology. We have thought that we should accelerate electric vehicles, but if you would have seen the extent of investments we are making in the ICE side also, we are doing that with intention of growing, because we clearly see that both electric vehicle market as well as ICE market are going to grow. In India, it's not a like unlike a developed world where the demand is stagnant. The demand continues to grow. Today, the market is at 3.8 million. At the end of the decade, this might be 7 million. Out of that, 30% means 2 million will be electric vehicles and 5 million would be maybe ICE vehicles. So it is still going to grow. And therefore, we are, while betting big on EVs, because we clearly see this is the eventual technology in the automotive world, but we also know that it is going to be a longer duration when ICE would also have in uh, play alongside the electrification, that will also see acceleration. But we will be playing intensively in both the segments.
You spoke about emission norms, and we obviously have BS6 phase 2 coming up. With obviously the effect of it is going to be price increases, that is inevitable. So how are you going to manage that? And going forward, are there any cutting measures at a group level that you've sort of undertaken and you would like to talk about?
So, unlike the BS6 phase 1, where we graduated from BS4 to BS6 phase 1, there was a steep jump in the cost. It is not the case in BS6 phase 2. It is not that steep jump. So, it is more moderated, I would say. We have completely transitioned to BS6 phase 2 as of February. Now all the vehicles which are being produced in the factories are phase 2. On the cost side, I think, the part of the cost has been transferred in the vehicles through the price increase that we took in Feb. A part might come in the subsequent quarter. So that is as far as the price is concerned. There are many activities that we are doing for cost reduction, and this has been a very institutionalized process in the company, delivering nearly 3 to 4% reduction every year. And therefore we'll continue to work on such value engineering ideas, or sources of commercial reduction. We are increasing in scale, so scale based negotiation, all these levers we are going to use for cost reduction. So that's what broadly the plan is.
I wanted to understand about your Sanand plant as well, since it'll take about 12 to 18 months to be fully operational, as I understand. So, will the capacity go towards producing only EVs? You've not decided upon that. What is the plan forward for that to utilize that plant?
While we are deciding, which are the set of products which will be made in that plant, of course, we have the understanding what are the first two products that we will be making. But one thing is clear, that we consider the pool of our capacity across the four factories that we have. One is in Pune, where we are sitting today. The other one is the Sanand plant, which was our the plant which exists there. And the third one is a joint venture factory with Fiat in Ranjangaon. And the fourth one we have recently acquired. We consider this as a combined capacity for PV and PV ICE as well as EVs. So in Sanand, the Ford acquisition that we did will be dedicated to ICE also in the short to medium term. Eventually, it will be, I imagine, the end state of this factory producing mostly EVs. But to start with, it will produce both ICE as well as EVs.
And what about exports? Is there a dedicated strategy that you have to scale up your exports as well?
Of course, exports is a big opportunity for growth. There was a phase in the period of ICE where we always used to be one or two stages behind on the emission norms as compared to where the big markets were. I think with electrification, that handicap has gone away. So we are actively looking at exports as a big lever for growth going forward. The strategy is work in progress. I think it should start fructifying in the next 2 to 3 years.
On the EV front, I wanted to understand you've recently launched India's cheapest electric vehicle, but there are other startups. Do you see them as incumbents who are sort of making tall claims of getting into that entry level EV segment, or you're sort of secure in your space and you're sort of confident that it will do as well as your other EV products like Nexon EV?
So we are not in the race of making cheapest cars, right? We want to focus on bringing aspirational features in different size of cars, different body styles, and then we see how we optimize the cost, right? But what we don't compromise is the aspiration quotient of those vehicles. So Tiago EV, if you see, is a very feature rich vehicle, many first in class features, and it has come at a certain accessibility point even after doing that. So we work on the cost effectiveness of the cars. So that is occupying a certain position. There will be players who will come, but we have the benefit of having ramped up our capacity. Our production processes are mature. Our learning of electric vehicles to increase the reliability is more, with 600 million kilometers that is the combined mileage our cars have covered. We have sold nearly 70,000 cars by now. So that is the experience that we have, and these are some learnings which makes us ahead in the curve, and that should help us convince our customers more to go for our cars, which will have a very strong value proposition. So we proactively anticipate what the customer, what the competitors might come with. We keep ourselves alert and agile to the developments, and therefore take appropriate actions to keep the competitiveness of our vehicles high. At times, we might not be able to anticipate. We'll react to those situations, but we'll fiercely fight.
Even talking about your stronghold, which is the SUV segment, the fastest growing segment in India today, how do you sort of plan to segment your vehicles? Is there a strategy towards sort of having a vehicle or a competitor in every segment? And going forward, how is that going to develop your SUV strategy basically?
You would see the range of SUVs that we have is, of the widest range. It starts from Punch, which is the most accessible SUV, and then it ends with Safari, uh, which is the most aspirational SUV or high-end SUV, if I may use that word. There are a lot of SUVs which are in the middle also, and there are different styles of SUVs that you can bring. You have seen Curve as a coupe kind of an SUV. Sierra is very different. It brings a lot of elements from the car, the classic car, but in a very modern avatar. So that is going to bring a very different kind of a SUV. So we are trying to address the requirement of SUVs in different size and at different price points, and that will lead to fragmentation, and that will lead to more customers adopting SUVs, is the way we see.
You're running up to be like a close number two to Hyundai already, and it's a matter of days where we see that you'll sort of dethrone the company. So, what do you think will be your top three factors that will help you achieve that as soon as possible?
We don't know whether we'll be number two or what. We did not really work with a rank in our mind, we knew that we have made certain choices as far as our product portfolio selection is concerned, and the focus had been to ensure that we are in the top three in each of the segments we have chosen to play in, and we are doing that very well, and that has been the reason also for a massive turnaround and acceptance of our vehicle, and that will be in future also the endeavor. As we are expanding our portfolio, we will ensure that every product attains the rightful level of where it deserves to be. And in that process, if our rank changes for betterment, I think it's a welcome thing, but not something which we will be very obsessed about, or taking that uh, as the target for ourselves. Right.
But if it happens, then nothing like it.
Yes.
Yeah. Lastly, I just wanted to get like a perspective of on the industry from you. As we know, the dynamics of the industry are already changing, right? Like the affordable segment, entry level segment is almost being washed out. Then SUV sort of premium, the customers are moving towards more premium kind of features and segments. So, what is basically the segment wise mix going to look like 5 years from now? What are these changing trends that you see today?
One, from a pricing perspective, if I see the median prices of cars which are being sold in India has been moving up. Right, today it is at 9.5. 5 years back it would have been about 6 lakh, and maybe 10 years back about 4.5 lakh. So the movement is, as people are also upgrading their cars, there's a huge population of upgraders also, and therefore they'll take the average median price point more towards like 12 lakh, 12.5 lakh, and therefore the interest in the lower segments would be definitely low, for simple reason that with all the regulations, which all the new technology feature, which is the ask of the customers, both are making the entry cars expensive, right? And at that price point, let's talk about 4 lakh or 4.5 lakh, uh, you would get a very good used car. So people are also changing their cars possibly faster, because there are more exciting products coming in the market. So they switch to a new car very fast. So there is an available used car also in the market. So there will be a competition between used car and the entry new cars, is what I believe going forward. And regulation will keep taking the cost of the cars higher and higher going forward.
But you will not have like a dedicated used car program anytime soon.
We'll pursue a used car program, and we are reimagining the used car business that we have. And as we kind of conclude on our strategy and the operating model, we can talk about it sometime later.
But the future definitely seems bright, I'm assuming.
Of course, of course.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. It was lovely talking to you.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.